If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back, then hi and thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, drop your name in the comments box below. I'd like to hear who you are and say hi, and I'll get to that in a little bit, so thank you. I wanted to build on the conversation of communication yesterday. I talked about how leaders are afraid or uncomfortable about talking to their people. And that's in general, not just through the time of pandemic. But what the pandemic has done is amplify that fear of anxiety and the fear of failure, if you like, to some degree. And it's the uncertainty that we're also really uncomfortable about communicating with people, because we don't really know what the future holds and what it means for our people, our workforce either, or ourselves. But I wanted to share a couple of facts with you. And one of the things that I came across was from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. And I found this quite interesting, that here in Australia, 2 in 5 businesses said that they changed how they delivered goods and services. And 1/3 said that they renegotiated their leases, and 1 in 4 had deferred loan repayments. And again, it got me thinking that in this time, I talked the other day about how we must innovate or die. And I find it quite fascinating that some organisations have done it really, really rapidly. And one of my friends who's recently moved to New York, he works for a global alcohol beverage company. And he said that they closed down one of their manufacturing plants and pivoted very, very quickly to produce hand sanitizer, which was in much of a greater demand, especially over there. So it was fascinating to me how they did that so quickly, and also that they caught on to the demand so quickly. So if there wasn't a market for their actual beverages because pubs had closed, then they needed to look at what else they could do. And I thought that was a really beautiful way to actually look at what the market needed and serve that market need. So I guess the other thing to consider too is that we've mentioned it the other day that some organisations have had to pivot pretty quickly where they might not have been set up to have their people work from home. And I think in some ways it's happened very, very responsibly and effectively. And for some of those organisations, it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust and also perhaps go back and retrofit how things might work. Now, we know that in Australia, workplace law might actually change. And it was probably about time it needed a little bit of a change within sort of the 10, 11 years that it's been in its current state. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out in the wash there. But if we look at where we're at from a fear and anxiety perspective and our uncertain future, then what does that mean? Well, I think it's time to really look at how we pivot and not panic and back into the communication mode. What is it that we can share with our people and those around us to work together really effectively? I know for myself, running my own business, where there's, people are having to look a little bit differently and not necessarily have coaching in the same way, that I've also had to look at some other things for my revenue streams for my business to serve my market and to be able to still help them where I can. So that has been also uncomfortable, but also liberating in terms of the creativity around that. So when it gets too hard, when it feels like it's getting too hard, it's natural to want to give up, but don't. So instead, tap into your greatest resource. And if you've got people, tap into those people to help you create what the future looks like. And they're going to help you generate new ideas, and you'll have hopefully a little bit of diversity in your business that will stimulate ideas that other people won't think of, and you'll be able to collaborate with those guys, and it would be a beautiful thing. It'll also help you reduce your stress, and your people will feel like they're part of the future by engaging them in that way, and it'll increase your chance of survival. So a lack of creativity leads to failure, and jump in there with your people and start to create what the future looks like. So that's it for today. It's a short one again, and I just wanted to leave you with something else off the back of communication and link it to what the future holds. And I'll be back in touch with something else in the next few days. And so if this has been helpful, please share and like, and feel free to share it with anyone else that you think might be a useful little bite-sized piece of information that might help them with where they're at right now. And I look forward to